Hey y'all, it's Rhegis from the MorrisMansionBlog.com. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to share with you 15 different kitchen organization ideas. Some of these are your typical, buy a container, organize a drawer, put things away in a more organized area or in a more organized fashion. But some of these are using kind of non-conventional ways to store maybe pantry items or things you use every day that maybe you couldn't find room for. These are other ways that I use to organize kitchen utensils, food, and other everyday kitchen essentials. So my first tip is a new one actually. We have this one drawer where I store all of those kind of random miscellaneous things, the whisks, the measuring cups and spoons, that, the funnels, the weird grippy thing, like all of that kind of stuff, the lemon, squeezer and the lemon juicer, the zester, all of that kind of stuff. So recently I was at Home Goods with my friend. We were looking at some of the organization tools that they had, and I really liked this long drawer divider kind of extender thing. Unfortunately, I did not measure, and I was hoping that it would fit one way, but I did end up having to turn it, and then I still had all of the compartments. The one thing I don't think a lot of people think when they see these organizing videos on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube is that it's going to take away some of the depth in your drawer. So you just still have to be sure that when you want to close your drawers, that what you're storing in there will be, still allow your drawer to close. I did get rid of things that we don't use. I got rid of duplicates, and I put larger, more, bulky things on the one side, and then I just kind of was able to get things more separated and organized. My next tip for organizing is to get yourself one of these pot racks. You can get them where they're kind of more laying down or they are vertical. We have cabinets on the lower part of our kitchen. I would love to put in drawers or slide out drawers one day, but this is our reality right now. So I wanted to make use of the dead space in the cabinet because we could put all of them in there, but this is the biggest cabinet that we have, and it's right under our stove. So because of all of the wiring, there's not an upper shelf like you might find in a standard cabinet. So we use this pot organizer from Amazon, and it's metal, and it has these little dividers that you can use, and that way you can decide where you want to put things. You can decide how many you want, and then you kind of have to measure to fit the pots that you want to use on there, and it works really great for us. The next tip I have is to use a knife block in a drawer. I hated to see the knives on the counter, and I was also really worried that my kids would just be able to grab them. So I like that they are in a drawer. They're hidden. Again, they're right by the stove and by the cutting board. So they're right at my fingertips, but I found this knife block on Amazon. It was really inexpensive. It held everything that I needed it to, and then it left a little bit left over in the drawer for things to, other sharp things that I could pair with it. And it even had some extra slots for extra knives that I just didn't know where to put. So it has slots for extra knives, as well as it comes with spots for several steak knives, large knives, and then for your sharpener. So it really has slots for everything. Tip is to get you some of those drawer dividers that I was talking about. They work great for if you don't have a drawer big enough to fit those pre-made drawer dividers, or if you don't want to build your own. These are great and renter friendly. You can just pop them in either widthways or long ways to help kind of separate things in your drawers. So that's another great option. That I love from Amazon is this spice rack. Now, I have not decanted my spices into the pretty containers. If you want to do that, that is great. That's just kind of not something I want to take the time to do. I use my spices regularly and I use them up pretty frequently, so I feel like I would just constantly be washing and refilling, and so I just don't want to do that. But I really love this little tiered organizer. It helps me be able to see all of my spices, all of that I have on hand, and which ones are getting low or which ones I need to buy, and that way, and they're able to fit right in the cabinet, right by the stove. So when I'm cooking, I can just pull things out as I need them, and it is very handy, and it keeps things organized in a cabinet right where I need it to be. Same cabinet, I have a wooden Lazy Susan that I was using out on the counter to hold things like oils and some of the normal spices that I use like every day, multiple times a day, like salt and pepper, but it was much more useful for putting in our cabinet. We hold a lot of our extra seasonings. My husband is really into doing briskets on the barbecue and just grilling seasonings, so he has a lot of those stored there, and just other things, other spices that we gravitate towards a lot. So no one says you have to buy organizers for a drawer or a cabinet. You can use what you have. That's what I've done in my silverware cabinet. I've kind of pushed things that I don't use all the time to the back. And then I have the measuring cups at the front. This is new with that other extendable drawer organizer in the more kind of miscellaneous drawer. And then I have a organizer for my silverware. And then I have organizers for just kind of random things like straws, this one cutting thing that wouldn't fit anywhere else, and then just other smaller utensils and chip clips, that kind of thing. And then I have another plastic container that I put all of our medicine droppers in, the little medicine cups to give kids medicine, and the droppers that you get. I save all of those and put those in this same drawer. Again, things that I don't want to look at but I want easy access to. Another thing that probably all of us do is putting our utensils, the larger things like serving spoons, tongs, that kind of things, in something on your counter. I used to only have the wooden ones out because they were the pretty ones, and I put them in this vintage crock I have. But to pretty up the non-pretty ones, I have placed my plastic ones that I use all of the time and don't fit in a drawer in a ironstone pitcher behind them, so you don't see them at first glance, but if you do, at least they look a little prettier. And things that I also don't have room for in drawers are my kitchen towels and linens like that, so I have them in a basket on the fridge. This works well for me. They're within reach, they're in a pretty basket, but they're still accessible, and I have plenty of room to store them. And the other basket I have on top of the fridge has things like lunch boxes, lunchbox organizers, small coolers we might take on a road trip, things like that. Again, they're needing a place to store. There's something I don't reach for all the time. My kids' lunch boxes I do reach for every day, but those I can still reach them. I have them in just this vintage laundry basket, and this way I have access to them, but they still look pretty, and I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again, but I just really like to find creative solutions for ways to store things that I need that don't become an eyesore. I also have a drawer for my oven mitts and my, the things that you set hot plates on. So I have some of those in a cabinet, but I have the ones that I use every day on a hook just on the side of one of the cabinets. We hang a couple of oven mitts, a couple of those, I forget what they're called, hot plate sitters. I really cannot think of what those things are called. And then we hang our kitchen towel. So hooks always are a great solution for when you don't have room and you want something to grab super easily. And a tip for pretty kitchen towels, find a color palette you like, find good kitchen towels, and then buy those over and over and over. I found these Hearth and Hand kitchen towels that I love. I decided for everyday kitchen towels, I want blue, white, or sometimes maybe a pinstriped gray. So any of the towels that don't fit that aesthetic, I got rid of. And then any of the new towels have to fit this color scheme. And if they Speaking of hanging things, a couple of years ago, I added some pegs to this wall in our kitchen. It was functional because I was able to hang a basket. And then in that basket, again, this is unconventional, but it works really well for our family. We access this every day. In the kitchen somewhere, you always want to have a drawer or something that you can have that has pens, glue, scissors, like all of those kind of office supplies-y things. And we had nowhere to put that but out on the counter. And so I came up with a solution to put a hanging basket, and to organize it further, I took 2 Nukes cups that fit side by side, and just they hold pencils, and then kind of in the little crack behind it, I can store extra pencils and maybe a tiny little notepad for, writing down reminders, writing out a grocery list, whatever. And it's out of the way, it's in a pretty basket, but it's still functional, and out on my counter, I have a series of bowls. Not only are they pretty, some of these are vintage stoneware bowls, and then I have some primitive kitchen utensils in them. And I found this a couple of years ago on my birthday, or no, I found this brown one last year on my birthday, but I really wanted to have it out to display and not just put it in a cabinet or a hutch somewhere that you would never see it. And I found out that this is the perfect place to put my coffee pod, and they're right there. And I just grab one and put it in there, and when I can't see it anymore, I can tell that I'm getting low and I might need to go ahead and stock up. So that is how I store my coffee pods. And other bowls that I have on the counter, I have 2 of these vintage Heritage Collection Falstaff bowls that I found thrifting at Goodwill one time, and I love them stacked in the corner. And we use this sometimes for fruit, sometimes for bread. Right now it's a bread thing. If you want to store bread on the counter, a bread box is a great option. I constantly see these at the thrift store. They are so cute. And then I also store fruits in there, vegetables, when we have more than will fit in this smaller wooden bowl that pairs with it. Sometimes I will unstack the bowls and fill all of them. That usually happens like the first day, and then we cook and eat, and things pare down really quickly. But this is how I store things in a way to appease myself and my husband. It's in a pretty vessel, but it's out where my husband can see it. He is an out of sight, out of mind person and needs to see it to know that we have it. Also on my counter, I like to have, olive oil, salt, pepper. I like to have this little thing of toothpicks. I think it's so cute. It's a pewter thing from the thrift store. I think it looks very primitive. And I like it all kind of corralled on this vintage wooden cutting board that I have. And I really like how everything is, kind of corralled on this cutting board. And then the last thing is my favorite organization tool that has added way more function and allowed me to add this other little table in the corner of our kitchen. Is we converted a whole cabinet into our trash can. I was despising having the trash can out in this little nook that we had. I wanted to put it in the pantry, but my husband didn't like that. So we always planned to convert a cabinet to one. We had the perfect one, and eventually I found this design that I knew would fit in our cabinets. We found something that was very close to the dimensions of this cabinet. We did have to modify the spacing a little bit. If you want me to do a separate video on that, let me know. And so those are my 15 tips for how to easily organize your kitchen to meet your needs and your family's needs, to store food items, essentials for your kitchen, and just everyday things that you use in the kitchen. And I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, I would love it for you to like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. I make videos every week on not really organization, but I do every now and then DIY, room makeovers, thrift flips, thrifting, furniture makeovers. Just, you never know what you're gonna get. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by the mansion, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.